The Business Spotlight. Every brand has a story, and we tell it best.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Katlego Rakola. Thank you so much for joining me. The Business Spotlight is a brand new business show that will be bringing you conversations with some of Botswana's leading business leaders and taking a deeper look at their industries and their leadership styles. Our mission here is simple: to pull the curtain and look behind the scenes to get a deeper understanding of how these industries operate. We'll be live every Monday at 7:30 p.m. on the Voice newspaper Facebook page as well as Maru TV. Today, for our very first episode, we are joined by one of the most recognizable brands, the leader behind that brand, a brand that has existed for over 30 years in the media space of Botswana. The Voice is the company that will be profiling today. It's the heartbeat of Botswana's media space, as I said, having been around for at least 30 years. It started in Francistown, but later moved to the capital, Gaborone, around 1999. There are a lot of stories to say about The Voice, but we are thankful to be here with the leader of the organization, being Re Mak Khomolemo Kasale. Thank you so much and welcome to the Business Spotlight, Mark.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
The Voice obviously carries a rich history of Botswana's media landscape. I did try my best to just highlight who you are as a business, but how would you describe The Voice and your journey to where you are currently?
Thank you so much for having us, as I had mentioned. I think before anything, I'd like to start with a quote from one of my favorite authors, Ayn Rand. And I quote, she said, "Throughout the centuries, there were men and women who took first steps down new roads armed with nothing but their own vision." Perhaps this was the case with the Voice newspaper when two like-minded individuals met and co-founded the Voice newspaper on the 12th. I mean, our first edition was on the 12th of February 1993. You know, when I relate to this quote, they had this vision of coming up with a paper that is different from the rest. A paper that will vigorously and rigorously cover human interest stories. A paper that will be different from the rest in the sense that we will not cover politics alone, but we will cover stories that relate to Botswana. We will be a voice for Botswana. We will mirror the society as it is. So that's how the Voice was formed. And the way they had done the paper then, over the years, is even the way it has been packaged. They've sectionalized it in such a way that it becomes a one-stop read. Yes, our front pages are more on human interest stories, but we also cover your business stories. We also cover your lifestyle, your entertainment, your sports. And if you look at over these years, even the entertainment industry, what we did is they made about 16 pages just dedicated to entertainment news, just to grow and develop and nurture the entertainment industry. The business section, we ensure that the news are written in such a way that anyone can read and understand without these jargon words, because our readers are, stretches from your lower LSM to your upper LSM. So we make sure that we publish news that are relatable to all our readers. So the Voice evolved over the years. In 2005, we became the best-selling newspaper, and we were printing over 30,000 copies in 2005. And within the same year, we developed our website at the time. And with Facebook coming on board, we also now started investing more in terms of growing our Facebook page. So even the way we are publishing, most of the stories will be published on our Facebook page. We use the digital first approach. And that's how we managed to garner a lot of numbers in terms of followership on our Facebook page. So we've evolved over the years,
Yeah.
taking into consideration the, consumer preferences and the market demand in terms of how do we disseminate news. Our core business is news.
Yes.
So we have to adapt and adjust and also adopt new strategies that will ensure that our content is relevant to our readers. So, but I think the other thing that I need to make mention of is the fact that Botswana is broad. So for us to be relevant to every corner, is we had to expand our footprint. In that, Francistown is our base. That's where the voice was formed. But at the same time, there's also Chobe, there's also Okavango, there's also Palape, there's also Gaborone. And all the readers in all these different areas, they want to see what is happening in all those areas. So if you look at the paper itself, the way it was done is in the same paper that you buy on a weekly, we ensure that all these four corners are covered. Francistown, there's a feature called Ghetto Diaries. So every week you will get to see that news from Francistown and surrounding areas. There's another feature called Chobe Chronicles. Chobe Chronicles are news coming from Chobe. There's another one called Okavango Voice. We have a satellite office there. So everything that has to do with Maung is published either on our obviously online platforms, but in the paper you will see Okavango Voice there. Gaborone, which is where we had relocated, obviously for the business aspect of things, because most of the businesses headquarters are here. So that's how we managed to relocate from Francistown to Gaborone, but our base is still in Francistown. We are a Francistown newspaper. We are born in the ghetto.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the business has really grown to include all corners of the country, having started with Francistown, and this allows you to broadly cover all the issues
Yes.
that need to be highlighted in the country. I know that when you spoke about the amount of pages you have dedicated to entertainment, used to be actually the reason why I was a religious fanatic of The Voice. I remember when I was in Marang Junior
Yes,
Secondary
yes.
School, without fail, every Friday, I would buy the Voice newspaper because I appreciated, I think, the attention you were giving to the entertainment industry as a whole. So that's quite commendable.
Yes, yes.
And obviously the growth that we have seen with you now being able to cover all areas of the country. I wanted to dive a little bit into the leadership of the Voice newspaper. Obviously, this is a family business that you took over once you were ready. How was it growing up with a mother who was heavily involved in the space? Were you in any way roped in to do any small jobs within the business? And then ultimately, what was your leadership style when you took over as the man on top?
I mean, to be quite honest with you, I never wanted to be a part of this legacy from scratch, because I could see how my mother used to work. She worked 24/7, and I was raised within that space. So even if you look at what I did in my varsity, and even after varsity, I decided not to take the route, media at the time.
And what were
because
you studying then?
I did political and administrative studies.
Okay.
I'm an administrator by profession.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, I mean, even after I've completed my degree, I opted to selling chickens. I opted to be called a chicken boy,
Yeah.
and because I'm passionate with farming. So, and then from there, I managed to work for one of the leading FMCG, fast-moving consumable goods, wholesale. And then I was headhunted by these two co-founders. May their soul
Rest in
continue to
peace,
rest in
yes.
peace. They headhunted me, and they wanted me to come and assist them because they were more of on the creative side. So, and they wanted a business-centric individual to come in and take over the business in terms of running. So that's how I was roped in. Yes, during my varsity years, I used to come, but I was not really that involved in the business. So I had to learn everything on the job, you know, and because of the passion that I have, I managed to get to understand how media management works, and with my expertise as an administrator, I obviously developed, controls, systems, policies, strategies
Yes.
that promoted efficiency, strategies that were able to promote the business, and assist in the management of the human resource. And that on its own helped because it set the rules, the structures, and because of that, I managed to take a different direction and focus on the business side of it, and capacitate the right, individuals from your newsroom to your commercial teams to your even circulation team, and create a synergy within all the different divisions that eventually create the publication that you read. There's a lot of work that is put in place for that publication to be what it is behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
So I think, setting up good controls, systems, policies, strategies, structures within the office, and promoting, high work ethics, and adjusting and benchmarking with how other media houses are doing out there for survival. If you look at the sustainability of media business, it's a bit it's a bit of a challenge because we are in a fast-paced, ever-evolving industry.
There's something is always new.
Something is always new, and you look at the digital transformation. Now that digital transformation, digital migration has shifted consumer preferences, and now the reason why we are still relevant is the fact that our integrity and our credibility, it plays a pivotal role in ensuring that our readers have trust in what we publish. So that's what keeps us going, and
Yeah.
that's why we are still within the market, and there's continuity of the legacy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think you were very instrumental, I believe, in ensuring the sustainability of the business. When the two partners roped you in at the time that they did, I think the things you're mentioning of creating new systems, creating controls, and making sure that the structure in the business has allowed it to have that longevity. If you're just joining us, this is the Business Spotlight. I'm here with the Managing Director of the Voice newspaper, Re Makasale. The show is called The Business Spotlight, and we are together for the next couple of minutes to learn more about the Voice and the men behind it. We're going for a short break, but we continue with our conversation right after this.
we know what you're looking for.
Your specially grilled newspaper, spiced with lifestyle, sport, entertainment, politics, business, and international news. The Voice is available every Friday. Subscribe now. The Voice.
Welcome back to the Business Spotlight, where we bring you conversations with some of Botswana's business leaders and dive deeper into the industries that they are running. So today we have the managing director of the Voice newspaper, Re Makasale, and he has already laid the foundation in our conversation, having spoken a little bit about the history of the Voice and part of what he did when he got to that company. And I'm wondering, Mark, as we stay a little bit on around leadership, if the founders at the time, were they your mentors in ensuring that you are settled in the industry and you are running in the direction that is within their vision? Or were there other people who were mentoring you into that new leadership space?
You know, when I joined, as I had mentioned, I had no experience whatsoever in terms of having to lead a media house. So they were very instrumental, especially the two founders, in making sure that I understand how media actually works, and having to understand, you know, the media landscape as well. But the other thing is even the management team that I had to inherit, they played a major role in having to accept me as their leader and having to allow me to get to understand the different departments so that I'm able to strategize in a way that will help them flourish in their roles. Even the team at The Voice, you know, so it's coming from the support I got from the team, I got from the founders themselves, as well as the management team. It really helped me in terms of, I mean, it really helped that I create a path that was beneficial for the growth of the company.
Okay. Yeah. So it's been some time, obviously, since you took over as the man on top. It was in 2014 when you were general manager at The Voice. It's now 2026. And earlier you mentioned that this is a space that's fast-paced, forever changing. What are some of the notable changes you have seen in the industry since taking up leadership?
One, what you need to understand is we have a small reading population, okay? One. Two, for sustainability, we are dependent on advertising. So the bulk of the revenue comes from advertising. And with Facebook now in the picture, digital now in the picture, we are experiencing shrinking advertising revenue because now there are other avenues that advertisers are maximizing on. But that has presented, it's not a challenge, it has presented as an opportunity, because now we have to increase our offering basket. And increasing our offering basket, it means now we have strategized in how then do we increase our reader revenue? Because with the digital taking control, obviously there's a decline in copy sale. That's a reality. It's there across all globes. Some titles have actually transitioned digitally.
Fully digital.
Fully digital. But then how then do you become relevant in terms of your offering basket to clients and continue to print to the readers that prefer to buy the copy, you know, in the midst of this shrinking advertising revenue? So the only way to survive is obviously increasing our offering basket, improving our subscriptions, online subscriptions, because you see the same publication that you buy from the shops. We have it as an e-paper. You know, you subscribe to Press Reader. is a replica of the actual copy that you buy. So when COVID hit in 2019, 2020, we launched our e-paper. So when COVID hit, remember there were the restrictions, movement restrictions, so we could not print. But because we had press reader at the time, we were publishing, though we were not
Printing the physical
but
copies,
we
yeah.
were, the team was actually working, and we were pushing for the e-paper during COVID.
Okay.
And then after the restrictions were loosened, then that's when we started printing, but small, because, I mean, there were restrictions at the end of the day. But the funny thing is, around that time, our readers dictated in terms of increasing our print run, because even after we've printed and we've distributed the copy, you'll start seeing on Facebook, the voice say Kai, the voice say Kai.
Yes.
So that on its own, because it shows that the paper is selling. So we have to increase our print run. And as I had mentioned earlier, that, there's this challenge of decline in terms of copy sale.
Yes.
But you look at other countries like South Africa, there's a public, the Daily Maverick, yeah?
Yes.
We are all scratching our heads, thinking, oh my God, print is dying. And during this era, Daily Maverick actually developed a different model, and now they started printing. They've been an online publication all these years, So they gave us hope that, so we can still print. They are printing at a time where everybody is moving digital. But then we learned from them in terms of their business model to keep it sustainable.
The print business.
The print business,
Yeah.
which is why we are still printing. And we will continue printing until, unless otherwise the market dictates.
Otherwise.
Otherwise.
Yes, because I think with the advent of digital media, obviously that's where everybody is. Somehow, though, consumer preferences are changing. I'm seeing in the West where CDs are coming back, for instance, but we know that music has been primarily being consumed in these online platforms, your Spotify's, your Apple Music, and the like. But I think there's some sort of exhaustion from consumers of digital media, and there's starting to be a preference for physical products. So maybe that's why we're seeing the Daily Maverick and your business as well continuing to sustain the copy sales that we're seeing in the physical space. The Voice newspaper is a very important brand for Botswana, and I think it has been instrumental in some key democratic developments. Does anything stand out to you that you have covered in the past that you feel the Voice was very instrumental in driving?
If you look at, the Royce Sana case.
Yes.
Yes. At the time, my mother worked closely with Royce Sana.
Okay.
And the case was highly publicized. And people got to know about the case, the CKGR against the government. And it's one of the historic judgments that were made. And it is because of the voices, and other media houses as well, not just the Voice, but the fact that the media played a pivotal role in sensitizing the issue. The world got to know about it. So I will say that's something that we have done and we take pride of at the Voice newspaper. And I think there are a lot. There's so much that we've done out there as the Voice newspaper, especially in holding our leaders accountable.
Absolutely.
There's so much that we have done as the Voice newspaper, being not aligned to any political party, but reporting the truth as it is. And that on its own has changed, the outlook of things. And because, like I had said, it's about the integrity and the credibility and the trust that we've gained over the years in what we publish.
Yes.
that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speaking to that trust and credibility, I think I'll also link it to a point you made earlier of just what's happening with digital. There are a lot of media players now in the digital space, people that or brands or companies that you really can't identify with from being some of the players we have seen in the past within the media space, and this is making people question our industry. There are a lot of people who have pages on Facebook and they post unverified information and the like. What do you think is the challenge now being posed to journalism, media as a whole of integrity by these online spaces, and just the need for people to really want verified, correct information?
Good. I mean, to be honest with you, in this era that we are in, it's not just these online publications that are mushrooming. Yeah. We also have your AI. You know, we also have your generative AI, your artificial AI. We also have these threats of deep fakes. You know, and which is why it's important that we get to understand and know who are the real players in this industry. And, if you look at what's happening with the current administration, they've come up with a media practitioners bill now, which has paved way for, it has not been adopted, it has not been presented to cabinet yet, but it has been shared to us. But obviously, I'm not going to dwell much on it because that one I'll reserve my comment. But what I can say is through the Publishers Forum, we have a Publishers Forum where we discuss such issues, and through the Publishers Forum, we define who the publishers are, you understand? And I'm not going to talk of the online publications because I presume they have their own association. It comes back to the reader themselves. If is this legit? The Voice will not publish untruths. The Voice will publish truths, verified. The Voice will not publish half-baked stories, because remember the litigation issues involved
Absolutely,
here.
yes.
So we try by all means to adhere to the journalistic ethics and standards. We not try, we actually make sure that we adhere to proper journalistic ethics and standards. What we publish is nothing but the truth, with no favor or, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think I get you that it's really also on the side of the consumers of the content to ensure that they're consuming this content on credible platforms. And what I think we have seen lately is that anything that's sensational that just appears on any other platform, people are going to run with that because of the sensationality of the news. But there needs to be verification, and it's a good point that you're making for people to really ensure that the information that they consume is from credible, verified platforms. This is the Business Spotlight. I am Katla here, having a conversation with the managing director of The Voice newspaper, Re Mark Kasali. We're going for a short break, but after this, we continue with our conversation.
We know what you're looking for.
Your specially grilled newspaper, spiced with lifestyle, sport, entertainment, politics, business, and international news. The Voice is available every Friday. Subscribe now. The Voice.
Welcome back to the Business Spotlight, where we have conversations with Botswana's business leaders about the businesses and industries they operate in and their leadership styles. Today, we are joined by the managing director of the Voice newspaper, Mark Kasade. Mark, we're talking a little bit about the industry and how it has evolved and just some of the challenges that we are seeing, especially in media, and what these new AI models, the digital spaces are bringing as challenges. Are you hopeful about the future of journalism in Botswana? Do you think we have a strong enough industry, and will it survive the coming years?
Yes, I can confidently say that. You know, I mean, speaking for The Voice, with our international affiliations, we've subscribed to WANIFRA. WANIFRA is a non-governmental organization. It's an NGO that helps journalism to thrive. So with WANIFRA, we are able to benchmark, we are able to, engage in the best practice shares and get to understand how the newsroom operates in this era. And it helps to capacitate our newsroom, and we learn so much from WANIFRA. So through the learnings that we get from WANIFRA, we are in a better position to right size the team and have a skill set that is able to meet the demands now. As a publication, as much as we are growing old, the publication should not grow with us. It should be, in fact, it should be growing younger. So what we are doing now is to understand our readers, make data-informed decisions that are able to help us publish relevant content which is palatable to all ages. So what is important is to understand the industry and where it's going and meet the current demand that is dictating to us. But having the right team on board, positioned in the right places so that we're able to deliver. So news has always been there in terms of dissemination of news has always been there. You must be mindful that our core business is news. And for us to come up with that news that you read on a weekly, or whether on our daily platforms, digital, or on our weekly platform, we implore resources. Not just the time, but for you to get that voice type story. The journalist has to go somewhere. There's a lot that is involved there. So how you manage the resources also is very, very, very important. It comes from just the publication itself. How do you make the most out of that? And then how do you also get advertisers to come on board on your online portals is also very, very, very critical. I spoke of AI earlier. And when I talk about AI, I know most journalists or reporters will feel like, oh, now we have been replaced. No. AI now is, how do you incorporate it in the newsroom? How do you incorporate it in the business? You have to use it as an aiding tool, Journalists, yes, they will use AI for their stories, but the editor should verify the information. And you can't write a story about Muchudi and then in that story you're talking about lights, street poles, buzzing lights of Muchudi. AI will say that, but Muchudi is just a village without that. So that's where you need the human element
Absolutely.
So it comes as an assistance. So these are some of the things that can keep us going. We learn out of the situations that we are in. And these situations, I mean, if you look at COVID, there was COVID, business was at a standstill. But as a business entity, how do you maneuver around such a challenge? And you look for opportunities within those challenges. That's what keeps you going. So even now, you talk of the future in journalism. The future is brighter.
Absolutely.
We play a very important role in terms of keeping Botswana informed. And for that reason, it's a business that will always be there.
You sound very meticulous, I think, in your leadership style. It sounds like you like your processes. You are a man of strategy. What's the culture like at The Voice? How do you interact with your employees? And what is your expectation of them when you are at work?
I'm a hands-on MD. I work closely with my staff, and I'm always there in terms of support. And my expectation is my door is open for all of them. If there are ideas that are there, which I see are there for the growth of the business, yeah, we sit down, we discuss such ideas, and we move with those ideas. So my kind of leadership is an open door policy where I allow my team to interact with me. We challenge each other for the betterment of the business. We agree to disagree and disagree to agree.
Yeah.
And also, what is important is with this open door policy, I'm able to understand and know individual strengths. And having to knowing individual strengths, that's what helps in terms of the positioning and how we maximize on that talent.
I understand.
So that's the kind of interaction. That's what they expect out of me,
Yeah.
and that's what I expect out of them.
So I know that you are very big on the business side, the operations of the business, but the business is primarily focused on news, content. That's really what you sell. You sell news. How independent is the newsroom? Because I know that things have changed. Money is tough. Sometimes you go and see a client and they have a certain expectation on the editorial side. How does it work at The Voice?
With that, what the model I have adopted is I allow the editorial department to run as independent as possible. Reason being that I don't want to interfere in their work. I mean, at the end of the day, the reason why they are there is because of their expertise, which is core for our business. So there's a separation of roles there. I've got an editor who runs the newsroom the way it's supposed to be ran. I cannot run the newsroom. It's not what I'm there for. I'm there to run the company. And not only that, the fact that I also encourage business, incorporating business thinking in the company, having an agile, innovative mindset, allows the whole team to run, because as much as it sounds easy and simple and doable, there's a lot that happens in order to make sure that the newsroom it runs independently and the commercial team runs independently. The two are separate. Yes.
Have you ran into any challenges there where maybe that line was hard to define at times?
Which one?
The business and the editorial, because as you're saying, it's not easy. Sometimes there are challenges, and it's a struggle to ensure that the two roles stay separate.
Yeah, I mean, I from my end, try by all means not to jeopardize on journalistic ethics and standards, and I make sure that such is avoided because I don't want a situation where I'm caught in between. So, and I might loggerheads with my editor because there's a story that has to run. And no. We keep everything as separate as possible. And we make sure that we deliver as per our readers' expectation, and our role is done. Obviously, if it's about keeping those that are in government accountable, that's the role that our journalist has to stick to.
Okay.
So I try by all means not to get
to-
myself involved there. That's why it works for me.
Yeah, and I think it's done well, because the business, for me, I believe, has remained with the identity that it has always maintained
Yes.
over time. What was the biggest challenge you've had to face as the leader of the Voice newspaper?
You know, the biggest challenge that actually made me have sleepless nights is when our Facebook page was suspended. You know, and this page was suspended because we had reported to Meta of a page that was impersonating us and delivering fake news. So we had reported it. Instead, Meta shut us down. And be mindful that we have grown this page for years and years, and now
It's now on 1.3 million
it's at 1.3 million
followers. Yeah.
So this challenge, we don't have absolute control over over Facebook or our accounts on Facebook. So to get that rectified or fixed, it took me a while, and that's when I realized, oh, the world is here, it's digital.
Yes.
Facebook, that's how we get most of the traffic that we have on Facebook is the traffic that we redirect into our website. So all our news, there's a hyperlink that we put there so that people can go and read on our online portal on our website. So we don't have that anymore. So it was a challenge for the business. Facebook also has presented itself with our numbers as an opportunity from an advertising perspective, revenue.
Yes.
So we are losing out on advertising revenue for 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a big knock.
That was a big challenge.
2, there's no content that we are publishing on Facebook, and we are not present. But the challenge, the funny thing is, it presented itself as an opportunity, because now we have Instagram, and at the time the numbers were very low. We have TikTok, and at the time the numbers were low. These are the main ones that really blossomed on these 2 months.
During that period of downtime on Facebook.
And again, it also presented as an opportunity to the journalists, because with Instagram now we are reporting on a video format. So now we are learning how to report on a video format and the kind of videos that needs to be published. So we learned from this challenge. The other challenge is, of course, the digital migration. It poses as a threat to the business, poses as a threat because continuously we are finding ways to survive with this migration. Yes. But we are benefiting in the migration as well. And with the migration, because now we have Google Analytics that we use to measure the kind of content that we publish, see how the content is performing, guide us in terms of what kind of content to publish, because it's dictated by the activity after that content has been published. So even that, it will help us from a digital first approach. We publish the stories, we see how they perform, and then the print is exclusive content that is worth every Botswana's puya.
Yeah. It allows you to know what sells, what people want to consume, what the market is responding to.
Yes.
And then obviously there have been some high points as well. And as you mentioned earlier, you can't pick one. But I'm sure there's one that comes to mind throughout your leadership journey at the Voice newspaper. What was your biggest achievement?
My biggest achievement.
Your biggest achievement.
There's plenty.
Yeah, you have done well.
I know what be bontle, but you know, it's having to see the business grow digitally, having to continue to function even in the midst of these challenges that we have. It's not as easy as it looks. So every week, having the publication come out, that's my biggest achievement. Every day, having to see content being published on our online portals, that's my biggest achievement. In the era where media fraternity is faced with so many challenges, you know, and with the challenges coming, and we find opportunities within these challenges, that's my biggest achievement. So I will say, I'm here, it's a Friday, the voice is out, the paper is being sold, people are buying the paper, it's out on the street. That's my biggest
Absolutely
achievement.
Yeah, ensuring the continuity of the business,
yes, sir.
and the relevance of the business,
Yes.
despite, as you were saying, the challenges that the media fraternity has been facing. And then what's next for the Voice newspaper? As you were saying, you are an old company, you are a mature company,
Yes.
maybe that's the right way to say it, having been operating for the past 3 decades. What's next? What can we expect to see from the Voice newspaper in the coming 3 decades?
In the coming 3 decades.
In the coming 3 decades, what's in store? What are some of your immediate plans?
You know, our immediate plans now is to foster collaborations, partnerships. You know, now that we have a lot of content creators, how then can we work together to ensure that your content is seen, is read, is heard? I have the platform. So, as I have said, with all these challenges, opportunities have presented themselves. The voice has evolved over the years, and with the evolvement, we have managed to adopt new strategies that are relevant for the business, adjust to the new strategies, and adapt. So the 3 decades, like I mentioned, will come with the different means of survival. What matters is how then do we act to be relevant in such. So the voice has evolved, has grown over the years. We are a trusted brand. We worked so hard to become what we are today. And what we are today determines what we will be tomorrow. So I'm in a better position to say the future is bright. In fact, it's brighter.
All right. So on this section of our show, it's called the Rapid Fire segment, where I'm going to ask you a series of questions, Mark, and then you have to choose one from all the 2 options that I give you. So very quickly, let's not take time on this one. Short, sharp answers. Print or digital?
What?
Right?
I'll say digital.
Digital.
Yes.
Risk or stability?
Stability.
Stability. All right. What's the headline you wish to publish next week?
If I had it my way,
Yeah.
if I was to do it myself,
Yeah.
I will recognize the team that makes the voice what it is.
Wow. All right. So, what's the biggest mistake you made as a young entrepreneur in your early years of leadership?
Have I ever made any mistake? Because I always make calculative
Really?
mistakes.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
You don't remember something that maybe the 2 partners at the time were very concerned about, or the team was not on board with?
You know, I think this one will be, as I had mentioned, I'm an administrator by profession, and obviously more of the business centric. So with the publication, it works on a ratio. So I've always been at loggerheads with, the editors. You can't have more ads in the paper because we are selling content. So obviously I had to learn how to balance the
Give
two,
and take. Yeah.
so that the paper also has the news that people have to read and that which they pay for. So I'll say that has been yeah.
Okay. Which industry in Botswana do you think will boom in the next 5 years?
I'm a farmer. I've been in that space. That's where I spend most of my free time. So agriculture, and I think I've seen something in one of the publications that that's another industry that the government is hopeful for. So I'll say agriculture.
Okay. And then what's more important to you? Legacy or profit?
Legacy, legacy, legacy. That's what is important.
Why do you think legacy is important? Because it solidifies continuity, unlike
Exactly.
short, lived profits.
I'm here because of a legacy. A baton has been passed through to me, and I did not found. I'm not a founder, but a legacy has been passed to me, and there'll also be a succession plan.
And do you think you want to give it to your son at one point? Do you want to keep the business within the family?
Yes, of course, definitely. It's not going anywhere.
So much for
Thank you.
your time,
Thank
Mark. We definitely wish you all the
Thank you,
best.
sir.
This is a business that I think will continue to celebrate. And I would like to actually see The Voice regionally having presence in other countries because we need to believe in ourselves.
Thank you.
We do the business. There's nothing that anybody can tell you about the space because you have been there, and it's just a matter of, I think, adapting it to the rest of the region. But with that said, congratulations on the journey so far.
Thank you.
And we'll be anticipating to see what's next for The Voice newspaper.
Thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of our very first episode of the Business Spotlight, where we bring you conversations with leaders such as the likes of the managing director of The Voice newspaper, Re Mark Kasale. I'm your host, Katlego Rakola. Remember, we are on The Voice newspaper Facebook page and Maru TV every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Goodbye.